Hey, Rachel, you know what fucking word soup that we should have put on our 2026 bingo card?
What?
The Cult of Lamb video game developers losing a bidding war against the monster dildo company Bad Dragon for the birthing rhino prop used in Ace Ventura.
What? That's a real thing that happened?
I got a picture.
Oh my god. Okay, so sometimes in life there's a lot going on. Things look bleak. This is one of those moments that you really have to hold on to. Because not everything's
Well, Cult of
bad
the
in
Lamb
life.
certainly tried to.
They certainly fucking attempted. Sorry, folks, the mechanical asshole rhino auction has gone way over our mechanical asshole rhino budget. We wish the Monster Dildo Company all the best in whatever they decide to do with the mechanical asshole rhino. That's fucking incredible.
Like, that's the crazy shit that should be on a bingo card, you know?
We fucked up. This is the shit that should have been on our bingo card instead of our weird, fucked up, suddenly very correct card.
Something that I didn't notice, at least, I mean, I knew about it before, but it's only, like, I've only noticed the recent, like, kind of bump in popularity, is, like, the weird cultural side bets that everybody's doing, where it's, like, people are doing, like, big bets on, like, who's gonna win the Academy Awards and stuff. That shit's always been around, but, like, now it's, like, kind of really, really big and popular, and there's, like, whole, like, sites where you can do that on.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it's become an app where people will be like, I bet this person drinks orange juice. And it's, like, it's stupid little bets like that, and people will put real large quantities of money down.
But it's crazy how, like, big that's getting, and it kind of makes me sick, like, because I feel like it's just fostering
gambling,
just a really bad culture. It's gambling, number one. Second of all, like, it's just kind of fulfilling, like, a self-prophecy of shit behavior.
Yeah,
like, I don't like what I'm seeing.
It's interesting to me because I feel like the tone and vibe that I get from, and I know you don't like speaking about generations, and I know it extends past, like, a singular generation, but the tone and vibe that I get from people that use, like, that type of format is interesting because it's like, if you go to a casino and gamble, that's, like, disgusting and, you know, like, you're not being smart, but then you'll go on this app and gamble that Susan drinks a glass of water in the next episode of a show.
Yeah.
It's like, what? It's the same thing, dude. You've just put a different label on it. It's the same thing with vaping. And, well, I guess cigarettes have honestly, like, reared their head back up. But it's that same, like, we went through a whole era of time where people who smoked was like, oh, man, like, you smoke? Like, I remember moving from California to Washington was so interesting because it went from, in California, a lot of my experience with smoking was people wouldn't really share with you. Like, if I asked you for a cigarette, you'd be like, do you smoke would be the starter question. And then it would roll into, if I said no, I'm not giving it to you. Or if I said yes, we'd have a conversation about how smoking is bad for us before the cigarette was ever handed to me.
Yeah.
And then moving here, which is quite, or I guess from Southern California to here, there was quite a few years in between. And when I got to Washington, it was once the vape craze had kind of kicked up pretty significantly. And it became, do you vape? Why don't you vape? Do you want to hit my vape? Have you ever tried vape? Are you sure you don't want to try it? And it was like, I would get peer pressured into using a vape. And I was like, no, like, I don't. I like my lungs. Leave me the fuck alone. And people would
just
be
say,
like,
I'm gay, I'm not that gay.
Yeah, they would be like, you're weird for not using a vape. And I was like, oh, what? That's so bonkers to me.
I mean, I've always been team oxygen when it comes. I know I'm sounding like such a fucking. I know I'm sounding like such a fucking square right now, but, like, the people being like, cigarettes are so bad for you, then they're, like, smoking weed, and it's just like, you're right, but, like, not oxygen, bad in lung.
Yeah. Also,
like,
I know somebody whose wife.
Sure, you can make it water vapor. Like, water vapor also bad in lung.
Weirdly enough, not good for lung either.
Like that's how you drown, I remember.
I know someone whose wife, I forget what the fuck her actual title is because it's a long doctory title. But basically she does lung therapy for people who can't breathe no mo because they use vape and cigarettes and things. And she says she sees significantly more people coming in for vape use than she does for cigarettes at this point. Like a lot sooner. Like cigarettes will affect you long term, obviously, in hyper negative ways. But it's like she's seeing young people come in with absolutely fucked up, torched like esophagus and lungs from using vapes.
Isn't it called like popcorn lung or some shit?
I don't know. That is a good question.
There's so many because e-cigarettes have always kind of been around, but like it was almost like a novelty of like cigarette companies making these things, being like, you could use it to quit smoking, haha, just go buy our cigarettes, please. But like vape is a completely different sort of thing, and it kind of came out and it's safer than smoking. It's just like, well, yeah, so is wearing a tire on your head and walking around naked, but
yeah.
I don't know if that makes it good for you. That's sort of incorrect. But like it is one of those things where it's just like we don't have all the information. It's like Ozempic, where it's just like Ozempic came out, everybody's using Ozempic, and it's just like we don't know the long-term effects from using that. And now I guess like people are like, I stopped taking Ozempic and I got all the weight back. And it's just like, well, yeah, you didn't have good nutrition and dieting and a routine before. Of course, you went right back to it.
You're going to rebound pretty quick there.
Also, I guess like, I forget what it was called, but like some women are getting like fucking droopy labia from it.
So recently, having been to a psychiatrist for the first time, their whole job is to prescribe you.
I cannot wait to see the segue from droopy
their
vagina
job
labia.
Is to prescribe you medication. I've never had a doctor read to me like the worst possible outcome of a medication before. So this lady's like, hey, I'm going to prescribe you this thing. It'll help you sleep. The whole premise of the pill is that it like disconnects your nervous system from your brain when you're experiencing like really intense dreams so that you're not like in fight or flight mode all night while you're sleeping. So it's literally just for like shitty nightmares. And then she goes, side effects are, like you could have low blood pressure and she was like, and that's a concern, but you're going to take it before bed. So it's like not a really big deal. And she goes, or your retinas could fall out. And I was like, what?
That's a jump.
Yeah, I was like, that's a leap. So at some point, I hope somewhere, somebody was like, Ozempic, here's the pros. Side effects include these, and maybe saggy labias. Yeah. And I just cannot imagine a world where I'm like, yep, this is what I want.
But you know what is on our bingo card, Rachel?
No, Gamage, what's on our bingo card?
My long odds were the draft, and that word has been thrown around a lot lately, and that's pretty awful.
Just a bit.
I feel not good about it. I guess lots of huge superpowers are talking about joining Iran to fight America. China's got some new submarines that they're saying are really good against America.
It's really awkward when if you like look back at World War II where the Axis powers were and you're like, are we that? Which side are we in this one? Yeah.
I'm just saying that maybe it's time we visit another timeline. So let's just go turn on the time machine over here. Beep, boop, beep, boop. Whoa! Welcome to We Have That Podcast at Home, the only podcast that took place in the 80s where everybody talked like this. It's all transatlantic and sounds all vinyl scratchy and stuff. This is exactly how people spoke in the 80s.
Everyone spoke like this in the 80s.
Everybody. I'm on Brand Gamage, and we're in the 80s today.
And
do you have a name?
Welcome to We Have That Podcast at Home. I'm On Brand Rachel. Each week we play Russian roulette with our success, and we spin a wheel to find the genre of next week's podcast. Last week when we spun our wheel, it landed us in 1987. Right next to, weirdly enough, a brave little toaster.
That's right. We are talking about Brave Little Toaster, and I think we're gonna hit this right, where we've condensed down the plot, because I want to actually talk about the movie and not just like reciting the movie.
Yes, the themes.
And I think we could do that this time.
I think we can do that. I believe in us. We're in a new era of time, you know, new decade, new year, to new us. Yeah.
Have we done a movie at all this year?
I don't think so, actually.
Well, I mean, yeah, here we are. So let me fucking quickly shit out some movie facts. The Brave Little Toaster is a 1987 American animated musical fantasy film directed by Jerry Reese based on the 1980 novella by Thomas M. Dish about a world where anthropomorphic electronics pretend to be lifeless when humans are around. It's very Toy Story before Toy Story. Yes. The budget was a mere $2.3 million.
What a meager sum.
It is, which is fucking abysmal. Oliver and Company came out a year later. You remember Oliver and Company? You probably don't. That had a budget of $31 million.
Are you serious?
To put it into perspective.
Jesus Christ.
I'm dead serious. Also, Land Before Time, which came out a year later, had a budget of $12 million. So, like,
oh my God.
2.3 sounds like a lot.
Yeah, but when you put it in perspective of the other things that came out at the time, holy fuck, because it's a good-looking film.
It is a fantastic-looking film. The film was produced by Hyperion Pictures and the Kushner Lock Company. OG Pixar members were involved in its production, hence the A113 reference that Brittany had to point out. I actually missed it.
Can you explain?
And I believe this is the first full movie to actually use the A113 Easter egg, too. So, if you don't know, A113 is the graphic design classroom at Cal Arts, and it's used as an inside joke in every Pixar movie and a lot of others. Like, it's used in Avengers, it's used in, like, anything where, like, a Cal Arts student they try to sneak it in somewhere.
Was it the apartment
number? License plate numbers. Yes, it is.
Okay. Damn, that's cool. I've never known that.
Yeah, I missed it, too. Brittany was just like, isn't that the thing? And I'm like, it is. So The Brave Little Toaster is, like, kind of Disney. They paid for the rights to the book and held the rights to the home video release, but the movie was completely independent. So Disney had no say on its production, obviously, but they had no issue slapping their name on it later. But this is not a Disney movie. It's not on Disney Plus. Instead, the movie is independent and on YouTube for the whole world to see. I highly recommend watching it before listening to this, or listening to this and going watching it again. I've watched it 5 times since we decided to do this episode. I just watched it earlier today, too. The sequels are on Disney Plus, oddly enough, but that's because Disney actually holds the rights to those. So the film itself premiered in various film festivals and made history as being the first original animated film ever exhibited at the Sundance Film Festival in 1988.
Damn, good for them and their little budget.
Apparently, Jerry Reese was told by the people at the Sundance Film Festival. First of all, Brave Little Toaster did not win the award at Sundance Film Festival, but Jerry Reese was told, your movie was the best movie here, but we didn't want to give it to an animated movie because people would stop taking it seriously. And honestly, I've never taken Sundance Film Festival seriously ever in my life, ever. So, par of the course, guys.
Yeah, we're good on you. We're in same lane.
The film stars Deanna Oliver as Toaster, John Lovitz as Radio, Tim Stack as Lampy, Thurl Ravenscroft as Kirby, and Timothy E. Day as Blinky. There's other characters too and more interesting facts that we'll mention as we go on, but this is our core group of protagonists. Some fun facts about the casting. I'm speeding through this real fast. I'm doing awesome.
I believe in you. You're doing great.
Thank you. Upon hiring Deanna Oliver as Toaster, and also coding Toaster as a more of a feminine character, one crew member actually slammed the door and walked out because a woman had been hired as a lead role. That's just a fun little anecdote.
Oh my God. This will get into something later.
Jerry Reese wrote Radio, specifically with Jon Lovitz in mind, but he had just joined Saturday Night Live, so he had to record all of his dialogue for radio in a single recording session overnight.
Fuck. And he has a lot of dialogue, guys, like a lot. I don't know when the last time you saw Brave Little Toaster was, but he literally might have the most lines of the entire film.
And they did like an open kind of like an open room recording, so like people are actually talking to each other when they're recording. So when it came time for Jon Lovitz's lines, it was just Jerry Reese reciting them. This was also Thurl Ravenscroft's last film role, but he was still doing Tony the Tiger all the way to passing at 91 in 2005.
God damn, committed. He was committed to the bit. That's somebody that's committed.
He's great. That's not funny.
Also
did the song for Mr. Grinch, the whole like narrated thing.
Oh, did he really?
Mean one, Mr. Yeah,
nice.
that's Kirby the vacuum.
I did not know that.
Yeah. All right, I'm gonna get through this plot in a quick and condensed manner. I'm shooting for 5 minutes for the full plot of the movie.
All right,
and then we'll go back and talk about the specifics. I mean,
Wait, no.
It's showing me a timestamp right here, so I think we're fine. In a suburb cabin, a toaster, desk lamp, electric safety blanket, vacuum cleaner, radio, and a wall AC unit sit day after day waiting for the master, a young boy named Rob, to return. Upon seeing a for sale sign in the yard, the group of appliances, Sans AC unit, more on that later, decide to venture out into the world in search of Rob. They turn Kirby into a makeshift vehicle by attaching him to an office chair and car battery, science. The journey can be described as harrowing. With their battery being limited, they stop for the night in a clearing where a huge hurricane blows Blanky up into the trees. Lampy uses himself as a lightning rod to recharge the battery. After recovering Blanky, the group attempts to cross a waterfall where they all fall in the water except Kirby, who proceeds to jump in after them. Now, without the chair and battery, the group has to pull Kirby through a swamp and are almost swallowed up by the mud when they are saved by Elmo St. Peters, who takes them to his appliance parts store. Elmo St. Peters attempts to gut the radio but is frightened by the other appliances, which is very Toy Story, and escape. They make it to Rob's apartment where they're bullied by newer appliances and sent to the junkyard. Their old friend, the TV, shows Rob commercials for the junkyard to send him there in search of cheaper appliances for his new college dorm. Rob finds most of the appliances on a conveyor belt but gets stuck by a bitter junk electromagnet dedicated to crushing the junk that keeps hopping off the line. Toaster sees Rob about to be crushed, jumps into the gears, sacrificing himself to save the master. He gets fixed, and all the appliances go to college with Rob. Damn, less than a minute. Oh, no, it was like a minute and a half.
I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
That was solid.
Now, mind you, there's a lot more that happened in the little bits there that I do want to talk about, and we will.
And we will get into it. Before we get real deep into our discussions, I do want to have a quick call out of the first time I ever watched this film. I think I was 17 or 18, and my best friend at the time thought that the electric blanket was soap in a blanket. So my only context for this story was that there was a toaster and soap in a blanket. And I watched this whole film going, why the fuck would soap in a blanket be sentient while the rest of these fucking electronics? And then it occurred to me very quickly into the film that it's a fucking electric blanket, and the person that I was sitting next to had, much like my issue with Lord of the Rings, had just really locked in their childhood opinion of this film and had never thought past it, because it is certainly not soap in a blanket, but I do get why they thought that.
Like, because I've never seen an electric blanket with a big ass fucking just like a hospital remote dial just attached to the middle of it. I understand that. Like, and I kind of get, like, I've done that too, where I'm like, when I see something when I'm a kid and it like locks in, and you're like, yeah, it's this obviously, and then you just never think about it again.
Yep.
And then later go, oh, I do that with like song lyrics sometimes.
Yes. What was that Taylor Swift song that everybody had like a weird? That it ended up being a totally different line for it. I don't
Shake It Off.
Who the fuck cares? It's Taylor Swift. When God I say if you've heard the song, you'll know what I'm talking about.
Or Donald Duck calling Daffy Duck the N-word. I'm pretty sure we all thought that was. We all thought that was a thing. It wasn't.
I don't know about that, but that's funny.
Oh, okay. So in Who Framed Roger Rabbit, which also came out around this time and also had a much, much bigger budget, but that was kind of understandable. In that movie, it kind of shares Warner Brothers and Disney characters alike because it's cool. Disney, think about that. But in that movie, there's like a scene where Donald Duck and Daffy Duck are like kind of like piano dueling each other. And Donald says like some Donaldism to Daffy. I don't know what it is, but like
but it's not the N-word.
It kind of sounds like he calls him like a goddamn N-word, and like for fucking decades I'm like, I think he said it.
Like, ooh, but awkward.
Obviously, like I don't know what it actually was, but obviously it wasn't. There's no way Disney's like, yeah, make him say the N-word.
Just sneak it in there. It'll be fine.
Okay.
I was curious if you watched this movie as a kid, and then we kind of talked about it earlier, but this movie definitely walked so that Toy Story could run. Like, there's so many themes through this that I feel like are consistent. I think
this movie, like Toy Story ran, but this movie also ran too. And then the sequels definitely decided to walk the rest of the way home.
I think more so what I mean is that like much of what Toy Story is absolutely built off of this movie.
Yes, absolutely.
Like the whole journey to go find Rob is the kind of the same deal of like going and finding Andy in the second one. Honestly, it follows significantly more of the second movie's plot, like the second Toy Story's plot line, are more is more similar to Brave Little Toaster. But it's like conceptually they absolutely got it from this. But I was curious if you watched it.
I did watch this as a kid. I had it on VHS. I watched it all the time. So like this movie is definitely one that's kind of ingrained in my childhood. By the way, I think that the director came out and was just like, this movie isn't necessarily for kids as much as it is about like for like college students or young adults. Like that's kind of what this movie is like I watched it as a kid and I do feel like I picked up a lot of the messaging. Like, there's a lot of themes I didn't pick up on until later where I'm like, oh, obviously this is this, and I was a stupid kid. But subconsciously I picked it up because, like, there are things that, like, I relate to that I use in my everyday that are just, like, are kind of intrinsic now.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So I did want to talk about the main theme of this movie being, like, your usefulness and sense of self-worth and fear of abandonment. There's like so many like juicy nuggets here, but like director Jerry Reese described the main message of this movie is, what would it be like to be an appliance and feel good when you're useful and help people, and the fear of being abandoned and wanting to be reunited with somebody that you love. And you see a lot of that in here where like everybody's afraid of being abandoned or like not being able to be usable anymore because they think that their self-worth is attached to that.
Yeah.
And on some degree it is, but on others it's not.
I like that they said that this wasn't specifically made for kids because I don't necessarily feel like as a small child, I mean, you hopefully don't feel abandoned. I know that's not necessarily actually the case for many people. But that's definitely something that you struggle with as you get older. Of like, if I stop being functionally useful to the people around me or at work or in friendships or like whatever facet of life you are currently filling, there's the concern that you're now no longer worth anything, which is not inherently true at all.
Of course not, yeah. So I did watch this as a kid, and it's kind of not for kids, but I do think it's kind of important to watch for some kids at least. I don't know how to gauge it right, but like this is an important movie to me, and it definitely helped build my psyche. But like it's wild because this movie is it's pretty fucking scary.
Yeah.
But like
just a bit for small kids.
It's weird because adult movies didn't scare me, but like actual kids movies for children, those are the ones that gave me nightmares. So, like, I don't know if maybe I just had a weird reverse switch or something, but this movie didn't give me nightmares. It's definitely, like, creepy and, like, some scenes stuck with me, but, like, I don't know. This movie just didn't do anything like that. Instead, it built me in a more positive way.
Yeah, and I think that's the balance when you have movies that are for little kids is there's obviously, like, life is scary and there's going to be things that are scary, and kids, no matter how small you are, have to deal with scary themes. But the balance with making like a really good childhood film is that it's like leaving you with that inspiring moment that kind of not like washes that message, that previous message away, but washes the like bad taste in your mouth about it.
Yeah. Because this is an era where kids' movies were just family movies. Like, a kid's movie could be well built and, like, made for the whole family, and the whole family could enjoy it. Whereas, like, I feel like nowadays, kids' movies might be a little more geared towards children.
Yeah.
In maybe a good way where it's, like, safer and better for learning, but, like, at the same time, they're losing something out of it, and now the parents are like, I want to blow my brains out.
Well, and I think it's, personally, I don't think it's being changed in a good way, because, like what you said of, kids' movies used to be the entire family could enjoy it, which is a key point in, like, actually wanting to spend time together, is that I'm not watching something that fucking blows and I'm just swallowing dog shit because I want to be near my child. It's like we can both enjoy the same message, story, and experience together and both have a good time.
Yeah, because it almost feels like you're patronizing your kid. Like, because if you're watching their dumb thing and then you're like, did you like that? Was that fun? Where it's like, if I were going to watch a movie with a kid and we were watching Into the Spider-Verse, I can actually have a fucking adult conversation with this child about, like, the movie and, like, wow, I really like this. I really like that.
And I
what
think
was
that's
your favorite part? Like,
is like, it's kind of the same as I think baby talking your kids. Is like you're doing your kid a disservice. Like, my dad is largely raising one of my siblings' children right now. And when I go talk to that kid, he's like 4 and he is the most well-spoken human being because my dad just talks to him like he's an adult human being all the time. Yeah. And like teaches him how to fix stuff. So like he knows the names of so many things. He knows like really proper communication and he can articulate like pretty complex thoughts for a 4-year-old. And I remember, because I don't see him a lot, just the vast difference between him like a year ago and now, where I'm just like, oh my God, like you're a whole little human being. And every 4-year-old is, but like you can tell me how you feel about being a whole little human being. Because you have like all of this language to use. But that's the thing with kids shows. If you're dumbing them down for kids, you're not they're not growing or developing. Like, you're just meeting them at their level versus challenging them to grow. And that's where I think it's like you're really losing the portion of, like, I don't think your kids being like watching a show or watching a movie is a bad thing, but it's when it's just, you know, garbage for the sake of garbage. They're not actually, I mean, it's kind of the same thing with people. Like if we're just watching reality television all the time and our brain's not actually churning anything, we're not really learning. Like we're just sort of turning into a blob.
It's like if you get that shitty carnival goldfish and then you take it home and you put it in a big ass fish tank, that fucker will live for like 20 years. Like it's all about the environment you're putting things into. And like, if you take the goldfish and put it in a tiny bowl and you're like, oh, those carnival goldfish die so quickly. Like, what makes you think carnival goldfish are different? I mean, like, they're not treating them great, but like, if you put them in a big bowl and give them food and space, and nourishment, they grow.
Yeah. I also really love when they don't do this as much in children's shows and movies, but the OG method of sneaking in an adult joke here and there. I don't know if you caught this, but when the TV,
I did.
Yeah, when the TV is trying to convince him to go to the junkyard, he's like, new appliances will give you carcinogens. You'll get giant tumors. And then he pulls photos like out of a filing cabinet and it's just girls with like star pasties over their boobs, which like it's the 80s. So you can get away with like a significantly more forward reference like that. But there's also so many random
stars on for censorship, like instead of like the white things or anything. Like you'd see like the stars over nipples and you're like, as a kid, you're like, that means that there's nipples there.
Yeah. Well, and that one's like, that's definitely way more forward than even like what the 90s did. But it did make me laugh because I was like, was that? And it's just fast enough that you're like, I don't know if it was, but it definitely is. Took a screenshot of it.
Yeah. Okay, I did want to get into character design, including how they move and sound, because that is such an important part of this movie. Everyone sounds incredible, and I don't mean the casting, which is incredible, but the sound design is top notch. Like the subtle springs when the toaster shifts her little arms, and the personalities of each character is well thought out too. So Toaster is warm and reflective and reacts to the world through empathy because it's reflective. So like every time like you see what she's focusing on, and the Toaster's coded as a girl, but like I think they're all kind of gender neutral, whatever. But when the Toaster fixates on something, like you see the reflection in the Toaster. Like that's that's an integral part of its character. Also uses its little handles as arms. I like that.
And I like that. No, I thought it was really cool because they definitely limited to some degree. There's obviously a lot of very cartoony, like the fucking radio has no physics. It's a blob. It's a weird little blob creature that does whatever shapes it wants, pretty much.
Oh, the blanket. You said the radio, and I'm like, gosh.
No. The radio does a lot of crazy fucking movements that, like, obviously don't fit.
Yeah, I was going to say, like,
most of them keep to, like, what they would physically be capable of as a vacuum, like within reason for an animated cartoon film.
And also the personalities attached to that too. Like Blanky is like an insecure security blanket.
Yes.
Like it's like Blanky's very slug-like. Like most of the time it's just like moving around like a weird fucking slug, but it's constantly trying to be useful by snuggling up with everything. So like its sense of worth is kind of based on that. And that kind of goes into like what it is it's this kind of like it was a baby blanket, like a baby warm blanket. Yep. And like so it's kind of insecure about it and baby like because of it.
Yeah, well, and I took at one point one of the things that I thought about while watching this was like, what do you think the age groups are for each of these characters? And I feel like the Blankies for sure, like the youngest sibling kind of hits like just like a really little kid, like a 5-year-old, like locked into, what is it, Rob is the master's name?
Yes.
Like whatever the last age the Blankie saw Rob, and maybe even younger than that, is the affectation that the blanket has. And then
I'm pretty sure they all remember Rob as being a kid, like because it's been like several years since
they all
saw him.
Remember him as being a kid, but I just think Blankie's like locked into being that age forever to a degree, you know?
Yeah.
Whereas the toaster, the radio, and the lamp all seem kind of like they're somewhere in this like young adult sort of era. Maybe like teenager or tween or something. I don't know. And then the vacuum and the air conditioner were like you're like older, more jaded people.
Definitely. And one thing I really like about Lampy too is that Lampy acts bright, but it's kind of dim. Like, so the whole thing about like Lampy is like illumination. It's constantly trying to seem brighter than he actually is. Like that's a lamp with a personality. But he's kind of resourceful too.
Yeah.
But yeah, also I really like how he uses his power cord as like a hand and an arm. Like that's a very little good bit of personality. Like when the first time he talks about him losing his bulb, like his cord is kind of like almost shaped like a hand as it's like grasping in its maw for a bulb.
At one point after the radio like hits a rock at them in one of the scenes, you can see Lampy's little like plug holding a giant rock, and then he very slowly like puts it down after the toaster's like, let's not fight.
And then Kirby is very grounded, being closest to the ground, and he holds everything in until he breaks down. It's very old school. His whole thing is about like hard work because that's exactly what he is. He's a vacuum cleaner is a big workhorse. It sucks up all the dirt.
Mm-hmm.
And that actually comes out too. I think my favorite character design is Radio. Radio is a clear know-it-all, as his entire use is repeating everything he hears because he's a radio. It's like if Bumblebee from Transformers was more interesting.
Yeah, pretty much.
So, like, I love Radio because Radio doesn't seem to have an original thought and needs to be the center of attention. It's just repeating, like, lines it knows. It's nothing but references. He always announces himself with, like, a, now listen to this, like, before he, like, says most things. And it's such an interesting character.
Yeah, just going back to how they physically move through the world, I was thinking of another example of when they're doing that thing where they all stack on top of each other to try to get into the attic. You see like the way that they move around each other is very much like they're keeping to the shape and possibility of what each of the items is. So like with the toaster, it uses its little toast popping method to throw the blanket up higher. And then it's just really cool. Like it was very well thought out. The character design really fits, or the character personality really fits the designs. And it's
so in depth, and it's like you can't get the shit for even high budget movies anymore. Well, like Radio's little like antenna being its arm too, like the way it like kind of zigzags at times, like it's so much personality.
And that's what I love is that there's so much in-depth like exposition in like older movie design that I think is frequently missing in more modern day films, especially animation, where it's like this whole character's ish is like every layer of this character is connected to this core like centralized personality of theirs.
Yeah.
And they're like their whole design is designed around that. And it's just really well done. It's like it's something that you might never think about, or if you stare at it long enough, you're like, "Oh, I get it." Like he's a vacuum. Yeah. He holds in things until he breaks. Like he's grounded down to earth. He has a really hard job, so he's kind of grumpy.
Toaster's design is I feel like I didn't elaborate on that further, but like Toaster's whole thing about like Toaster's reflection being like its entire personality. Because of that, it gains empathy, but like the whole reflective nature of it is like such an integral part of the character, which is funny because like I've never really known any Toaster to be like a reflective thing.
Yeah. Like an OG metal toaster.
Yeah, like I got a Spider-Man toaster. It's Spider-Man. He's not really, I can't see my face in it.
Hey, Gamage, Spider-Man could be anyone.
So moving on, I did want to like just talk briefly about the cleaning scene because these appliances are in their cabin. They're not doing anything. They aren't being consistently used for their primary function. So like they supplement their time waiting for the master in the form of keeping the cottage cleaned. And like I love the like little detail of how there's dirt high up on the wall because they can't reach it.
Yeah.
Like that's a neat little thing.
Yeah, I thought that was creative too.
One of the scenes I really desperately wanted to talk about is the AC unit scene.
Yeah.
The AC unit blowing itself up in a manic episode. So, voiced by the late Phil Hartman. He's the dad from Small Soldiers. He was Gigi the cat from Kiki's Delivery Service. Legendary actor. Loved him. The AC unit is such an interesting character. And like he's like channeling Jack Nicholson at times. He looks down on the other appliances because he's high up. But he's very self-conscious about being stuck in the wall. And how I never got to play with Rob because he was too little. Rob was too little. And he has a meltdown and blows up because they're like kind of jabbing him. And you could just see his dead body attached to the wall in the remaining cabin seasons.
Yeah.
Rob fixes him on later on. It's very heartwarming. But like, I do love how like this is the first death. And like for a lot of kids, I think as for me as a kid, like this might have been the first time I've seen something blow itself up and like be dead. And you could just see its dead body there. That's cool.
It's just dead little form.
And then Kirby's just like, well, he was a dick. And you just move on. Everybody moves on.
And we're done like, now. Okay. So moral of the story is if you're a dick, people will move on very quickly after you die.
Yeah. I mean, life lesson. Yeah.
No,
AC unit was a dick.
I did really like that during his like manic episode death scene too. He's like shattering parts of the wall too. Like it's a really like, it's not, I don't know. He does not go gentle into that good night. You know what I mean? He has a pretty violent exit before having a really nice little end to his small arc.
Yeah, he definitely sparks up too. And like I really love how like he's mad because the master, which by the way, every appliance in this obsessed with this boy in a weird way. Where it's like
way.
There are other owners in the house too. Why is it just the boy?
I do have a question for you, and I don't mean this in a cheeky way. I'm just curious. I guess not a question, just like a thought exercise.
Yeah.
Do you think they went with the word master for a reason? Because they're like appliances and they're just like at the whim of their owner?
I think it is just that because that is how it was written in the book.
I gotta be honest, I did not realize there was a book.
There is a book. It's based on a book. Yeah. Fun fact, the book, there's the Brave Little Toaster, And then the next book in the series after the movie came out was Brave Little Toaster Goes to Mars. So the Goes to Mars is canon in the book. The Brave Little Toaster to the Rescue, that's not canon. It's just a wild little thing.
Just a wild little thing.
All right, so moving on, I did want to also talk about the importance of the flower and how Toaster sees the world through their reflection. I already talked about the reflection thing, but I do think that people are kind of mean to Blanky until Toaster sees the flower. There's a flower, and the flower is like obsessed with its reflection in Toaster's face, and then Toaster's like, no, I'm not a flower, and then just walks off. Then it notices that the flower like fucking wilts and dies. And like this is kind of like how it sees the reflection is kind of like instilling empathy. Like the Toaster had empathy before, but like it was very much like laughing along with everybody when people get bullied or punched around. Like the first scene is like Lampy and Radio fighting, and Toaster's laughing. Like
it's not taking life very seriously.
Yeah, so when it sees the flower like wilt because it's not getting the care, like that kind of instills onto Toaster, and there is huge significance to the color of the flower. The flower is the exact same color as the blanket because it sees Blanky wilting and dying, because this is right after the Toaster rejected it, saying, I'm not the master.
I don't really have anything to add, because, that was a good summary of the Toaster's experience.
Speaking of the Toaster's experience, how about that Toaster nightmare?
I gotta be honest, I saw this, and I don't remember what you're talking about.
The Toaster nightmare?
Yeah.
You don't remember the Toaster having a fucking nightmare about a clown firefighter and then shooting waters of a hose with forks?
How I missed this, because this is also like the title that we were talking about. I literally think I somehow missed this scene, but I don't know how.
Yeah, the clown like whispers run. I'm sure
literally
fact checker will pull up a GIF.
Not even at go refine and rewatch this.
That is wild because it's such an important part of the movie. I'm wondering if maybe it happens right before the hurricane scene, after Blanky gets scene. Yeah.
Because I remember Blanky getting washed away or blown away.
Is this why you didn't think the movie was that scary? Because like
fucking apparently.
I'm wondering if maybe the version you found had that taken out.
That is very possible. Wait, hold on. No, it definitely fucking didn't. What is going on? How did I miss this? I'm rewatching it.
Yeah. It's fine.
Yeah, the kid houses some jam. I have literally no clue how I missed this. I wonder if I like knocked. Oh my god, the clown's creepy as fuck.
Yeah, man.
What the fuck? How did I miss this? I must have like hit the controller or something and accidentally fast forwarded. What is happening? Oh my god, I love him above a bath.
We are having Rachel experiencing this like one for one.
Toaster death live and in person. Yeah, so, what the fuck? That's so wild, because I remember the scene right before it and the one right after it, so I don't know how I missed the fucking clown.
It might have been, I'm wondering, because like, did you watch it through YouTube?
Yeah.
YouTube does have a feature where like, if you press right, during like a certain sequence, it like skips like to where people skip to the most. It's for like paid promotions where it's just like, this episode's brought to you by, and then you just press right and then it goes blip up to it. I'm wondering if people are skipping that scene and it's just like, it just recorded.
Like, I don't want the creepy clown, please.
So Toaster has some anxiety.
Just a little bit. Just a wee bit. And doesn't like clowns, apparently.
There's normal Toaster fears here, being forks and water, bathtubs, clowns. You know, things that Toaster would be afraid of.
Yeah.
But the real fear here that I've noticed this time is that Toaster burns and it causes the master to be taken away. So this is a recurring nightmare built from guilt. In the book, it's just a bathtub. Fun fact, the clown is based off the asshole clowns from Dumbo.
That makes sense.
They're like firefighting clowns.
Yeah.
It's fun. Isn't that a fun scene? That's a great scene for a kid.
Yeah. I get more of why that scene's pretty haunting. He burns his toast, the child gets taken away, then he goes through a weird haunting scene of forks slamming down around him and then being dangled over a bathtub.
Rachel's just been walking around with no weight on her shoulders this whole time.
Oh yeah, no, I'm no longer weightless.
Moving on.
This flightful bird is flightless now.
Yeah, you've gone from a egret to an emu.
Good Lord, that clown's face is so fucking creepy.
Yeah, like the gangly tooth, like in the front, like that's just like kind of going jagged up.
Jesus Christ.
Fantastic design. God, this movie was so good. Now, next up is Lampy talks about his fear of losing his light bulb and then sacrifices it literally moments later.
I actually
10 seconds for you.
Really like this because Lampy mentioned the light bulb thing multiple times. Like it wasn't a one and done deal. Because at the very beginning of the movie, the radio like pushes him off the bed or something, and he's like, "Oh my God, you could have broken my bulb." And then he makes a couple offhanded comments throughout their journey about like being afraid of the dark. And then I thought, so it's like it really builds up to it being quite sweet that he is like terrified of losing his bulb, but it's like, fuck it, I'm gonna sacrifice this for my family, essentially.
Yeah, and like this is after he and Toaster talk about like empathy and like when you do good things for others that aren't just the master, it benefits you and makes you feel good. When I was a kid, I didn't understand this scene really, like the whole battery scene. I thought that Lampy was like trying to get up higher to like see Blanky better. I did not realize that it was intentionally becoming a lightning rod to get struck to power the battery. Like that never occurred to me that like he's literally like, I'm gonna like I gotta get this battery running. Like no.
I had to go back because the first time I watched it, I left that scene being like, oh, like that's all he was doing, and I was like, no, like that was on purpose. So I went back and rewatched it.
Yeah.
Which I think that's kind of the point, is that based off of how Lampy's been acting so far in the film, that's kind of the vibe you're getting, is like, oh, he's just looking for Blanky. And then you realize that he's very intentionally sacrificing possibly his whole existence to keep everybody like alive and going.
I'm not sure I have a favorite character in this movie, but I feel like Lampy comes closest because I feel like no character has more growth in this than Lampy.
I would agree with that.
Like Toaster was kind of grew empathy, but Toaster is always kind of warm and trying to like get everybody to get along kind of thing.
Yeah.
Kirby's always been kind of gruff, but he's always been like secretly like with the group. Like that never changed. He's always been like that, and he just maybe cracked the shell a little bit. Radio,
I don't know if it had
moving
any
on.
growth.
So
yeah. I don't know if there's much going on there. And then I don't think Blanky really changes at all either.
No.
I think a lot of them stay very consistent, and Lampy is really the only one. Lampy and maybe the AC unit, which we don't really get enough of that story for it to be like a true arc. But I think they're the only ones that experience any kind of like major growth. And the AC unit is like maybe equivalent to the Toaster and the flower.
It gets redemption. It definitely like you just see the AC unit basically say, I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. Like that's kind of his arc.
Yep.
Next up, Kirby having a seizure and swallowing his own cord.
Was that just because they like showed up to a waterfall? Because he like rolled up just fine and then was like, let me eat my own cord.
When I was a kid, I'm like, because it's water and vacuums hate water, right? But then it's just like they all hate water. But it's because he's holding it all in. He's holding it all in because he's a vacuum cleaner and he has a breakdown where like they all are holding it in, but like because they're all anxious about the water. We see Toaster having a freak out like immediately after this.
Yeah.
But it is like Kirby holding it in and being like, I'm the Rock here, and like he just can't be the Rock anymore in this final moment.
Mm-hmm.
And I do like how like he has like seizure-like symptoms where he's swallowing his own cord, and he needs to be walked around like he's being used normally to like snap him out of it.
I thought that was pretty funny when they were like, do like carpet motions.
Yeah. And then Kirby does talk about not liking the group, but then throws himself into the water immediately after them. This is after Toaster freaks out from the waterfall. And again, one of my favorite scenes in this is like when you see the reflection of what Toaster is fixated on and anxious over, and it's the waterfall in Toaster's reflection.
Well, and it's right after his dream of falling in a tub.
Yeah. And then it shows that Kirby just needs the group as much as the group needs him and doesn't want to be alone, so he jumps in after them. That's a great scene.
I did really like the logistics of him actually physically being in the water, too, because you can see him, like, suck in a breath and inflate his vacuum bag as a life floaty device. And it's a nice touch with the going back to, like, how they were physically designed, where they really, like, tried to utilize whether or not the reality of a fucking vacuum floating down because its vacuum bag is inflated or not works.
Yeah.
It's just that, like, conceptually, we are trying to work within the bounds of
their existence. Because there's a lot of inconsistencies. Like, they need a battery with them to move, but then they're constantly moving around, not being plugged in. So, like, there's definitely some, like, we gotta get from A to B, guys. So, like...
Yep. Yeah, there's some suspension of belief, but they're trying to work within the system of them being electronics, and they're, like, physical limitations, and I appreciate that.
What do you think about the sinking in the mud scene and how it prepared us for the scene in Toy Story 3?
Your comment on that made me laugh. I don't think the sinking in the mud scene was as dramatic as the Toy Story scene, but I think it's because like the Toy Story scene was an incinerator, and I think the sinking in the mud scene was much more of like a slow death.
Yeah.
Per se.
Like, maybe not as dramatic, but definitely it's less dramatic, but more dramatic at the same time, because like they're definitely like freaking out just as much. And then Blinky saying, "I'm not scared" as it sank into the mud is like a choice fucking
Well, and that's the thing is like, I don't think it was
Blinky's with his friends.
Yeah, I don't think it was as scary because there was like a type of acceptance going on where they were all like, okay, like we're going to die, but we're going to die together.
Yeah. I wasn't as affected by the incinerator scene as other people were, and that's probably because I feel personally that I got prepared for it in
because
Brave
you
Little Toaster.
Went through this.
And I did want to talk about pivot back into Toy Story is Elmo St. Peter's versus Sid. Who do you think is worse?
I think Sid. Because Elmo St. Peter's doesn't know that these are, like, sentient pieces of technology. This is just, like, a normal thing where he's like, I go pick up electronics and then I resell parts. Whereas Sid's like, granted, he didn't know the toys are alive, but he is sadistically ripping them apart.
He is, yeah.
To then sew them back together into monster creatures.
He's also pretending and giving them personalities and then choosing to toy with them, too.
Exactly. Like, he is living out a fantasy of being a sadistic fuck, whereas Elmo St. Peter's is like, I'm just fucking living my life and making my... Did you notice his, like, Flap Be Gone smoothie immediately followed by him eating giant marshmallows?
I put that right here. I put that right here. Like, he's such a weird juxtaposed character where, like, he's a jolly nerdy guy who like drives this giant monster truck that devastates the environment. He's running over trees and shit. Yeah. And then he drinks a healthy weight loss smoothie and then finishes it with a fistful of marshmallows. He's like, oh, I got a whole bunch of those parts, and then goes back and then fucking dismantles his own blender and then sells that as like brand new. Like the guy's a contrast of things. But
and he's for sure slimy because he's like, I just got a new shipment of this in, and he's finding a fucking old radio covered in mud and then reselling new parts. But like, it's not quite the same thing as I'm going to give this thing a personality and then I'm going to rip it apart, thinking about ripping apart that thing with a personality and then sew it back together with another thing that I ripped apart. Like, that's psychotic.
Yeah. In the book, fun fact, Elmo St. Peter's isn't a parts store guy, and the group calls him a pirate. He actually owns the junkyard, and then he takes them back to the junkyard, and the car crusher bit that happens at the end of the movie actually happens here instead.
That would make sense.
The book has a different ending. So the juxtaposition of the newer appliances against the older, personality-wise, I noticed that every character, except Blanky, is at one point or another dedicated to proving their individual worth, even at the cost of each other. Whereas, like, in this moment, our older appliance group is kind of bonded, and they're all kind of sticking up for each other now where they maybe necessarily didn't do before.
Yeah.
But, like, all of the cutting-edge appliances, the newer appliances, they're all in it for themselves.
Oh, yeah.
And they would sell them each other out for this.
Absolutely individualism. I also really liked, I don't know how much of this you thought about, but the philosophical perspective of
absolutely
like keeping and fixing things and acknowledging their continued value versus moving on to something that's brand new and isn't going to give you problems and will just be replaced with the next thing, which is where I feel like that basis of their individualism comes from, is like, I need to individually perform because I have to worry about myself being replaced. And I'm really
There's
curious.
definitely like an anti-consumerism message being here. And I have in my head canon, it might actually be proven, but like, I feel like Rob in this is training to be an electrical engineer. He's very handy with like the stuff, and he treats them well. I was
thinking that too.
And I think I believe that the cutting edge appliances, they know this, and they're saying like, oh, we're cutting edge, we're better than you. They know that they're going to be at the same point eventually too. They know that the clock's a ticking. I'm going to be replaced. That's why they want to stay with Rob, because they know Rob's going to take care of them much longer than their actual warranty has it stated.
I think that's an interesting theory that I would agree with, because it makes a lot of sense. I am really curious, like, because obviously I wasn't around in 1987 as a fully fledged adult human being. So I'm genuinely quite curious, historically
but here we are
speaking,
now.
Of like, at what point in our society did that cultural shift from fixing things continually to the more like when something breaks, you just buy a new one and replace it concept? Because I think disposable cameras came out in like 1986. So I'm like, was this like right around when that cultural shift started happening? And that's why there's this like anti-consumerism, fix your shit message in here? Because it's definitely a major theme throughout this also.
Because like we're definitely like, we're in the mid 80s. This is like the TV as seen on TV era.
Yeah.
Like handlers are standing by to take your call shit. So like this is that time.
Yeah.
So like this is definitely where people are like, hold on, those things break easy.
Yeah, and that shit absolutely existed, but I'm just like, where in the life cycle of this shift were we? And I'm so curious, because I'm like, I'm not any sort of historian or cultural historian, so I'm like, would be so curious to pinpoint like where we were in that timeline in 1987.
Yeah. So in the book actually ends here. The older appliances see that they've been replaced and go on to find a new owner. I don't know the full details,
fuck, really?
But yeah, there's no ill will between the older appliances and the cutting edge appliances. They're actually kind and cordial, and the sewing machine actually helps repair Blanky, which is weird because in the movie,
vast difference.
The sewing machine's an asshole. The sewing machine has two faces and is two-faced. You notice that? That's
the sewing machine's a fucking dick. I did really, I to circle back to earlier when you were like, are these gendered? I did look this up because I originally wasn't thinking about it remotely at all. And then when they're in Elmo St. Peter's storage room, there's one appliance item, I guess, one electronic
item. Talking about
the
Joan Rivers one?
Yeah, I think it's like an old cassette recorder or something. But that's
that one.
Like an extremely effeminate electronic. So I was like, oh, like have we just been hanging out with a bunch of dude appliances so far, I guess? And there are actually feminine appliances. And it's just that one and the fucking two-faced sewing machine. And I thought that was kind of interesting, because then you go into, I started looking it up, and all of the main characters that we move through are technically like all he pronoun appliance items. And then the toaster's the one that's up for debate, because I guess the creators and the actor all are like the toaster's a girl, but then the actual movie calls the toaster a he.
It's very girl coded, but like I will say, first of all, is that there are no gendered appliances, because these appliances aren't having sex and procreating. That's neither here nor there. But
I mean, I don't think gender is inherently based off if you're having sex and procreating.
You're absolutely right. And I did think I phrased that wrong, but I definitely wanted to say like there's no real like.
Well, and that was the part that I thought was interesting, is because up until this point, it hasn't mattered, and I hadn't thought about it. And then they were like, let me just throw in like a fucking gendered cassette recorder thing. I posted a photo of it because I was like, they went full like boobs.
Oh, you did? Yeah, absolutely.
And lipstick, which the sewing machine, I think, also has like lipstick shaped mouths.
Yes.
But doesn't go full, like, we're anthropomorphizing this electronic item. I just thought it was a really interesting shift to come up, like, I don't know, 3/4 of the way into the movie. It was just odd to me.
The part in the escape scene where they're escaping St. Elmo St. Peter's place or whatever is that there's a fridge there with them, and the fridge is an appliance, and it moves too. But back at the cabin, they were trying to use the fridge to like move, and the fridge didn't. The fridge was dead. What was up with that?
The fridge was nothing. Yeah, it was just like, it makes their suggestion of like, let's put the fridge on a skateboard and we'll just climb inside the dead body of Frank. And then the vacuum can pull us. And you're like, what?
Because it makes sense when you're like, all right, we're going to leave the cabin. Let's unplug the fridge. That feels like a normal thing. Like, just unplug the fridge. It takes up a lot of wattage and everything. But like, so does that mean that the fridge is like...
for so long that he's dead now?
It's wild. I don't want to think about it.
Well, and I didn't even clock it at first. But then when you see the scene of the fridge moving, you're like, hold on a minute. Wait a sec here.
Yeah. So I did want to talk about this next part and also segue into something else too. We go to the graveyard scene. That's the old junkyard, which is a graveyard for old appliances and cars. The characters in here are the Crusher, the Big Crusher, and Electromagnet, which are doing what they were made to do. And their use or self-worth is measured by grabbing junk and crushing the junk.
Is the Crusher the Crusher's not an actual character though? Like it never has like a face or any sort of...
It kind of has a face. Like if you look at it, it has
the illusion of a face because it's got teeth and things. But like if you look at the magnet, it has eyes, and the way that it's animated when it's like a living thing is different than being like a background set piece. And the Crusher is always animated as like a background set piece and doesn't ever actually have like moving eyes.
You're right, and I feel like that's intentional, trying to be like it's more of a mechanical thing. Like it's still a character sort of, but it's more like mechanical. This is a force of nature kind of thing.
Yeah.
The magnet doesn't have a mouth. The Crusher doesn't have eyes. You're
right.
It's
more of the difference in animation style for me, where I was like, they're like, it's not being acknowledged as like an actual. I mean,
it's funny that
item.
Like what led me to this movie was that I was talking about pareidolia a couple weeks ago, which is like where you see faces and things, and then you were talking about actually thanking your appliances and kind of giving them personality. And like, I feel like the two of those ideals put together is what made the Brave Little Toaster in the first place.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a note that I have later on is, you know, how do you feel? Because I think humans giving affectations to inanimate objects comes long before this. Because obviously there's like the whole farmer calls his tractor Bessie and is like, come on, Bessie, let's go. And like we name cars and shit. But I would be really curious to know if that affectation of giving human qualities to inanimate objects increased with like an entire generation of people because of this film.
Yeah. But I did want to talk about the Crusher and Electromagnet because I did want to talk about how like their motivation is they're doing a job. This is their use. Who do you think is the villain in this movie? Because there's a lot of like kind of antagonists, but who's the villain?
I don't honestly.
Because I have a theory.
I think the thing that comes across to me as the most villainistic of this entire film is the new appliances.
Exactly, yeah. The cutting edge appliances are the only villains in this movie, in my opinion. Every other villain is only villain by perception. It's like I Am Legend.
Yeah, it's like you're villain by proxy to what you're doing. Like the Elmo St. Peter's guy is like, he's not maliciously ripping batteries out of these things. Like he just doesn't know.
Yeah.
And then the
Crusher,
he's a dick.
Yeah.
Like, he's slimy, but, like, he's not, like, he doesn't know that they're alive and he's fucking killing them.
Yeah, you ever taken batteries out of a fucking toothbrush? It's like
cried because you murdered your toothbrush. How many kids do you think this fucked up? Speaking of, like, human affectations of inanimate objects, like, there's one kid that took this too far and saw mom take like fucking batteries out of a clock and was like, no, Clocky.
I mean, it might be why clocking. I mean, this movie probably not great for kids. I mean, I didn't get that, but like, I can understand why I do.
Yeah, like someone somewhere experienced this, but I don't think the Crusher or the Magnet, like I don't get the like evil vibes from them. They're just like really trying to perform their job.
Sure, the Magnet is like I'm gonna go after these tools because like I'm gonna keep going after these appliances, these good guys, not because he's evil, but because they're junk here. They're supposed to go in the belt and they keep escaping the belt.
Well, and
the junkyard, by the way,
evil vibes from them, whereas from the new appliances, it's like no, like you just feel wrong, like you're morally incorrect.
Yeah,
and then you throw people out a window.
These things feel sinister because because they're supposed to feel sinister, but these are like the forces of nature because the junkyard is for things that are broken or no longer usable, which is not our group of appliances. They're still usable, they're still running around and shit. Yeah. But like everything else here,
still running around.
Like so the final song and the final scene is like worthless and shit, and this whole like the whole junkyard scene is so delicious. There's so many like little nuggets. It's a harrowing song. First of all, it's these cars singing that they're worthless and they're being crushed while singing their anxieties and fondest memories. How impossible it is to go on sometimes, and sometimes accepting death, and like you get different cars with different reactions too.
Yeah, well, and that's you said it of some of them being like, I don't even want to drive anymore, because I think the first car that goes is like, if there were one more long road, it would be a road too long. Like it's one more drive, and I don't want to do it anymore.
I do love the red Corvette, which is like frantically like you see inside of it, and it's like frantically like steering its wheel back and forth, trying to drive off the belt, like it doesn't want to go. And then you get like the old race car, and it sings. I once ran the Indy 500. I must confess, I'm impressed how I did. I wonder how close that I came. Like it doesn't even know.
Yeah.
The craziest one that I didn't even pick up on when I was a kid, I just kind of remember it, is the green truck that worked on the Native American reservation. Like the Magnet's going up to it, and then the truck just drives off towards the Crusher. He's killing himself. This shit is so dark because he was like with some kids, and the kids just ditched him, and they said you're worthless, and they just walked away. And he's just like, and this is the other appliances like oh, we're just give up hope. That's cool. I guess I'd rather just die, and it's such a good thing. Like if you're not going to watch the movie, at least watch the useless like or worthless music video for it, because like it's so good.
Yeah, no, it's a really good scene, and each of the car's lines are very well written.
Like this whole scene makes it worth it for changing this to the ending of the book, because again, this takes place like before they get to Rob's apartment, and it wasn't as like this crazy. Like they kind of just escaped rather than Rob showing up and getting stuck on the Crusher belt, and then we see Toaster have the reflection of the gears on Toaster's face, sacrificing in because fucking, which is like that's the moment the Toaster becomes the brave little Toaster. The whole movie, the Toaster's like not a coward, but not like you wouldn't say brave. No. But like the scene on the waterfall, like that's a scene where the Toaster kind of like freezes up and then it kind of fucks them over. But like this is that like full redemption arc come all the way over, where it's like kind of that same scene where it's like it's standing high, looking down at death and going for it. Like that's the brave little Toaster part.
Yeah, well, and accepting death as it's like that's its final act, is to save its human, you know?
What an incredible movie.
Yeah, it's actually quite good.
Yes, it's very good. It's on YouTube. Like somebody transferred the entire like 35 millimeter film, like the legit old original version into YouTube, and it looks and sounds great. That's the one you should watch.
Yeah, I was actually thoroughly impressed with the quality, because normally when you find like an old film on YouTube, it can be very hit or miss. But I was like, oh shit.
Oh yeah. It's got like a little bit of vinyl cracks too. Like it's great.
Yeah, the speckling of the film too.
Yeah.
I did think it was really funny that YouTube captions struggled with singing. It was fine like 90% of the time, and then anytime somebody sang, it was like, I'm giving up. I don't know what this is.
Very much so, yeah.
But yeah, you should go watch it. It's a good film, even as an adult human being. Definitely not age discriminatory content.
Anyway, since we're still in the 80s, I'm gonna go ahead and just recommend something from the 80s.
I love that.
I'm gonna go with the.
Okay.
This Is the Day. Great song. You could also, if you're not feeling that, go with Love Is Stronger Than Death or Heartland. Both also great songs. Although Love Is Stronger Than Death came out in the 90s, so that's out. Fuck that.
Okay, so what's next?
This Is the Day. Just go with This Is the Day. Great
Just
song.
Go. That's it? That's your
Fuck
final?
It, yeah.
All right.
This Is the Day in Heartland by the. It's great British rock from the 80s. Like, it's post-pop, alt rock, 80s, British. What do you want? Fuck you.
I just like you repeatedly going, the? Something
about
I know, but it's like the lilt in your voice between saying the makes it's just that's what's entertaining me.
What have you been listening to, Rachel?
I remembered who I was gonna suggest. Behold. Not really sure how to say her last name, but it's spelled E-M for the first name, space, and then B-E-I-H-O-L-D. If you heard the song Numb Little Bug that came out a couple years ago, this is she. She released a new album recently called Tales of a Failed Shapeshifter. I think it came out in the end of February. Yep, on the 27th. So it's a brand new 2026 album. It's really good. It's kind of poppy, but has piano. It's pretty lyric, like narrative driven, and goes through a lot of personal themes. But it's, I don't know, it's got like a fun little upbeat vibe to a good amount of it. But there's a lot of really good songs on there, and I think Hot Goblin is going to be the one that I suggest as my top suggestion to listen to. It's kind of like there's a line in that song of 1 minute I'm a siren, the next I'm a fish, 1 minute I'm a hero, the next I'm a witch. Yeah. And it's acknowledging that like you have a deeply flawed side and not really know how to deal with it, but also kind of coming to terms with like, you know what, it's okay that I have this flawed side, and like you might get different versions of me, but like I'm fine with that, and I'm learning to be proud of it and not feel like I'm a piece of shit for having bad days. But I thought that was a really good song.
My algorithm popped up that album. I think it came out like last week or something because it's just been like all over my front page. It is really good though. I highly recommend it too.
Big fan. Yeah. I think my only issue with this album is that it is only 29 minutes, which is short. And I wish
a lot of albums this year have been in like the 30-minute range, which is like it's fine, but like I'll definitely be like, yeah, it was good, and then I look at the clock and I'm like, ugh.
You're like, fuck. Yeah, and then there's a couple songs that are just like... I could have rode
this high a lot longer. I guess I'll just replay it. Sure.
Yeah, there's a few songs like that. Like I think it's Van Gogh on that album is pretty short, and I'm like, damn, that's a song that I wish was stretched out longer. But you know, if my biggest issue is that I wish there was more album to album, we're doing pretty good. So I have no major complaints really.
Oh, it's probably Soup.
Yeah, Soup is one that I was really good. Anyway, so listen to Behold. We're going with Behold. Yeah. Tales of a Failed Shapeshifter. Really, really good.
Really good. So it's time to get back to the time machine into our own time. You go ahead.
Oh God. God, Gamage.
I'll just hang out for a bit.
Oh, Gamage. It smells here. It smells so much worse. Don't waste your time. Stay in the 80s.
I'm glad we got these phones to talk with. These magic
podcasting
tachyon phones
through the decades. Is yours still shaped like a burger? Mine switched.
God, remember that? It's such a weird thing. Like
I know. I honestly kind of miss the concept of house phones. Like they're not useful anymore, so like I get why they don't exist. But I do miss having fun-shaped phones because for a long time, I had a one of those like emergency fire alarm phones where you pull the like do not pull this lever unless it's an emergency to open the phone and pick it up. And then I think my sister had a hamburger one. At one point there was a banana.
Oh, your house is fun.
Really enjoyed the period of time where your electronics were see-through because everybody was like, what is this mystical magical fucking item I'm putting into my house? I want to look at it.
Yeah.
And we should bring that back because that was cool. If my little phone was fucking clear, that'd be neato.
Well, generations don't exist, but also millennials fucked it up with like millennial minimalism is what it is, where it's just like if you have millennial friends and you go into their house and you're like, "Where's all your stuff?" That
yeah,
that couldn't be us though. Like we're a little more cluttered than I'd like, honestly. But like I don't believe in the minimalism thing.
I am totally fine with. My brother tried to accuse me of minimalism the other day. Because we were this exact conversation where somebody, actually, sorry, not my brother, my roommate was like, God, you're such a millennial. And I was like, what? And she's like, you like to hide cords. And I'm like, that's not minimalism.
That's not millennial minimalism.
I just like being fucking organized, man. Like I don't want 6,000 fucking little curly Q cords hanging out of different directions. Like I just want them to be in one place and not be in the way.
I've got my power strip like right next to my feet. It drives me crazy. But
yes.
Like the way my desk is, I've got a big L desk that goes in the corner. Like I can't get a cord caddy. Like nothing works with this specific desk style. So I'm like stuck just fucking playing footsie with electricity until I die. That's fun.
I've learned recently.
I hate it.
Okay, not learned this part recently, but learned this about myself. So I've always known that on the backs of power strips, there's little spots where you can mount them onto nails on a wall. There is,
yeah, but I'm not going to fucking nail this thing to the wall.
And that has always been my opinion. And then the other day I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm probably going to nail this shit to the wall because it pisses me off. And I have free time, so I'm going to fucking nail it to the wall.
You're right. And that's valid. And honestly, I should have done that years ago. But we've always been on the cusp of we're about to change rooms.
We're about to move shit. You're literally on the cusp of about to change rooms, though, now.
We're closer now than ever before. Like, we've been trying to like get to this point of like moving into our study. We were going to have our computers there. It's been 10 years. Like, we're still in the dining room. And I'm like, I don't know what... I mean, I can't install the door. I'm not that guy. That ain't me.
But you know, the day that you decide to nail that shit to the wall is the day that it's going to be like the door's installed, the paint has been painted, the carpet's been replaced. It's time to move your desk.
You're right. I'll do it right now. That's
how it fucking works.
Yeah.
Ugh. Thank you guys for listening. If you liked what you heard, or you are also inspired to look at the side of your toaster and think big things about your life, please like and subscribe on whatever your most favoriteest podcasting place is. If you want us to talk about a thing, you can email us at WHTPAH, that's @gmail.com. You can also follow us on Instagram at We Have That Podcast at Home, all one long giant word, or WHTPAH on Blue Sky. That's on Blue Sky. Next week, we will be tackling the illustrious, the wonderful, and the fine art of... It's wild card, bitch. We get to do whatever we want. Suck
Again,
it.
Yay.
I know.
I've been off-brand
Gamage. I've been off-brand Rachel.
And this has been that podcast.
The podcast at home. Love you. Goodbye.